What's going on, and welcome to Totally Blitz Podcast. We finna recap NFL Week 3 Sunday football. And as always, go down, like, and subscribe. Comment your thoughts on the Sunday night slate. And of course, these are your hosts. I'm Paul, Pick'em Win'em Concha, and Kev. Just so you know, this ain't Dairy Queen, but damn, this was a good Sunday.
This ugly ass mother. Hey man, you already know, man. It's your boy Kev, Water Boy's your boy, aka the Dom PYE, aka the motherfucker on your screen. How will my picks? My picks look so crazy this week right now. Like, I understand there are certain games like the Browns and the Titans. Okay, Paul was right. Their defense is like that for real, and the offense can just score. But then you got games like motherfucking the Saints and the Packers looking crazy. You got motherfucking so many games where I was just like, how the fuck did Kev pick them? Like, you feel me? So I don't know, man. This was an interesting ass motherfucking Sunday for me.
And if anyone don't know, like Kev right now, if Sunday night is supposed to end how it's supposed to end, when we're right now where we're recording, we don't have the Monday night stats in front of us. So Kev is sitting at 6-7 if everything ends how it's supposed to end on the Sunday picks. And it all started at 1 o'clock for you, Kev, to be honest. Like 1 o'clock was not your friend.
Not at all. Like, there are a lot of teams that just didn't show up for me.
Well,
There's some teams I hit spot on. Like, we're watching the Sunday night game as we speak. And Mother Truckee, and I told you, I was like, yo, that Steelers defense is enough. That's all they need. It's enough.
yeah, well, we'll get into that Steelers defense because I co-signed that. Like when TJ Watt's on the field, it's just a different it's a different team. It's a completely different team. Like like one person don't make a team, but there's no chance in hell I'm betting on the Steelers if TJ Watt's play.
It's like betting on the Rams back in the day without Aaron Donald. Like, you just wouldn't do some shit like that.
No, you just don't do that. It's not good for your it's not good business advice. All right.
It's not good business. It's not good business. Like, it's not.
But let's get into this slate. Let's start off with the 1 o'clocks, and let's start off with the wackiest game on the whole slate here. The Colts beat the Ravens in overtime, 22-19, and just a quick little thing, like Zach Moss went off. Like Zach Moss over 100 yards on the ground. He has like a 17-yard reception touchdown where it was very similar to the Tyreek Hill Tua touchdown last week where it was just right in the fucking pocket from Gardner Minshew. And I said this was gonna be the Lamar Jackson takeoff game. He definitely, I mean, he had a good 2 rushing touchdowns, but it was like everything else didn't work. Like I don't know how else to really explain it. It's just he really might be the Russell Westbrook of the NFL, where like he will get his stats, but what cost?
I mean, this game was wonky. It's crazy because in the preview we talked about how crazy a division this was, and we was like, see, this game is very similar timing to the Colts versus Chief game last year. We was like, was there some wonky shit happened, and it's just like a blemish on everybody's record type shit. And this is what this game was. I think Gardner Minshew came. He came. He came. He looked poised, especially in overtime. And I think this team, like everybody, had a lot of shots. Like there were in overtime, both of them had missed the fourth down conversion. So
Yeah.
it's not like just some random shit happened. Don't get me wrong. There was definitely a motherfucking hold on the fucking the Ravens fourth down conversion. That shit was definitely pass interference like a motherfucker. But refs didn't call it, so they kept it moving type shit. And
I feel like they were like that the whole game because the whole game the defense was very handsy on both sides.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm
Both
not tripping.
defenses play like that too. They're just very physical defenses.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not tripping either because I feel like they were consistent all game. But that shit was a blatant pass interference. But the same, but some wacky ass shit had to have Justin Tucker miss the 60. What was it, a 61 yarder or
Yeah,
62?
but
That
like
doesn't even.
a good 5 yards too. That shit was really short.
Yeah, it doesn't even sound like something Justin Tucker would do type shit, especially since the motherfucking I want to say the Cardinals made a 60-yarder today. So like usually when Justin Tucker steps up to the plate like that. So this is just one of those crazy ass games where it was just like, oh wow, they really did that. And you gotta shout out Michael Pittman for that crazy ass fucking catch. So like they were really eating. I will give the Colts. The Colts came to show up like, yo, bro, we're still a team, even though we don't got our starting quarterback for our
And
future.
I mean, Zach Moss going crazy. I know that don't help the Jonathan Taylor contract negotiations with Jim Irsay. I know Jim Irsay sitting right up there with a fucking the like a long ruler and like the footage behind him. He's just slapping the tape. Like you see that, JT? You see that right there? And there's a little fun. I might have to keep this nugget in check for the next few years. I'm never betting against the Colts in week 3 ever again. Like they beat the Ravens in overtime this week without their starting quarterback. And then last year, if people forget, they beat the Chiefs in week 3 at home and on like a walk-off field goal after Chris Jones fucking taunting whatever the fuck they called him for when he hit Matt Ryan. But like week whatever, for whatever reason, the Colts will show up and win games.
Oh yeah, consistently week 3. Well, maybe not the year before because they did start off 0-4 that year. But week 3 these last 2 years has been insane.
Yeah. So, and then on to our next game, we had, and then this is one of my locks. Never was a sweat. The Cleveland Browns beat the dog shit out of the Tennessee Titans, and
Facts.
and when I and my pregame pick, I feel like I hit the nail on the head. I was like, it's not Deshaun Watson and them who are going to beat the Titans. It's going to be the defense, and like the defense is. I mean, at halftime, I think Derrick Henry had on any fantasy owner. He had negative points at halftime. Like that's not the King Henry you expect. He had like 7 carries for 4 yards or some shit. Like the
Oh wow.
yeah, the fucking Cleveland Browns definitely came in and smacked them in the mouth. And the physicality by the Browns just showed at like they just couldn't get the run game going, and you can't lean on Tannehill. So like the Browns, like I just feel like the Titans are so one dimensional this year that the Browns took advantage of that. And I hate to say it, but I don't think the Browns may still be the 4th team in this division unless the Bengals continue to stink it up. But the their defense is they're very similar to the Steelers of previous years, where their defense is gonna keep them in like every fucking game imaginable.
Yeah, I mean, I watched absolutely this much of this game. I was so hurt when I saw the fucking score, dog. I was like 3-27. What? 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 A Mike Vrabel team? 3-27? Well, yeah, this Titans team does not look like they're about to have a good season at all.
They put up between Derrick Henry and Tannehill combined, like passing yards and rushing yards, 124 yards.
Ouch.
So yeah, like that was the type of offensive power that they were slanging with this Sunday.
Bro, the Dolphins, like, third string running back, got more points than the biggest this year today.
Tell him, because I can't. If I say it, I'm just a Dolphin lover and all this. I'm just
Bro,
a
that shit was
propaganda pusher.
crazy when niggas said. We could go to that game next. Like, that shit was
Yeah,
crazy.
we go from the no point having Tennessee Titans to the Dolphins breaking franchise record, 70 points on to the Broncos 20. And some people won't notice, we could have kicked the field goal to break the record. We had the opportunity to kick the field goal in the 4th quarter to break the record, put up 73 points, hold the record. But Mike McDaniels chose to knee the ball out and end the game. And he said, we're not here to chase records. Like if we were gonna break that record, we would have broke it. But we're not gonna chase that record. And on top of it, we don't want that's not the karma we want. We want good karma down here in South Beach.
What a gangster!
Coach of the year, coach of the century. I don't know.
Did I not pick him for coach of the year?
You may have picked him for coach of the year. I have to go look back and check the tape.
He was definitely in my top 3 when it came to.
Yeah, you picked 2 guys. You picked 2 guys, and he might have been him. I know you picked someone else too, but he may have been your coach of the year.
Yeah, I remember he was in my top 3. I was like, I ain't gonna lie to you. This might be the Mike McSauce season, and that's what he is. That's what his name is from now on, Mike McSauce, because he really don't play with the shits, man. The fact that you guys scored 70 points, the fact that Tua, Tyreek, everybody ate, and that was exactly what you said, because you said, yo, I think our tight end is gonna eat. No Jalen Waddle. I tight end. All our other targets are going to eat too. So I'm making sure I bet some money on the tight ends. I didn't know everybody in your starting lineup and your second squad. Fuck it, you could have threw your practice squad in and they would have fucking ate this
Did
game.
we did we put Mike White in, and we just upgraded Robbie Anderson, now known as Chosen Anderson, to the fucking starting lineup because Waddle was hurt. He got elevated from practice squatter to the lineup, and then first play with Mike or second play, Mike White's in. 67-yard bomb to a Chosen Anderson touchdown on who? Patrick Surtain. Patrick Surtain was laying up like they want. Literally, the report came out before the game, like an hour before. Patrick Surtain is going to shadow Tyreek the whole game. Tyreek just fucking annihilated him for the first, like bullied him for the first quarter.
Nah, that shit is insane. I don't know what people are supposed to do about this offense. Don't get me wrong, this Big Fangio revenge game for sure.
Defensive, there was almost a defensive touchdown, but there was multiple fumble recoveries.
Yeah, I don't know what to do about this team, but I knew it was bad when my mom called me. My mom called me because my mom's under the assumption that there's a rivalry between like the Dolphins and everybody. I don't know what it is. But my mom swears everybody has beef with the Dolphins. So when the Dolphins do crazy good, she's gonna call me every time. My mom called me to let me know that they dropped 70 on them fuck niggas. She thought it was hey, don't worry. My mom over here trying to hurry me up off the phone because she got more people to go to call and talk shit to. I'm like, this is crazy.
And if y'all don't know, I have a tradition where I take a shot every time we score a touchdown. And by halftime, I was fucking gonzo. And I wanted to give up the tradition, but I just couldn't believe what was happening. And then just to put a little icing on cake, 726 yards of offense.
Insane. That's the most ever.
Most ever in an NFL game. And then to rub it into more people's faces, Sean Payton, and people forget when Sean Payton was in the booth last year after he ran away from coaching the shit bed of the Saints last year. He said on air that how Tua's going to be benched probably halfway through the season for Teddy Bridgewater. And look at him now. People at halftime, I mean, that might have been the first half, may have been the best half of offense ever displayed, in my opinion. Like, my personal opinion, I think that's the best half. We had one play go for negative yardage the whole first half. And wow. It was like a negative 1 yard rush. And Tua ended at half 16 of 16 for 206 yards, 2 touchdowns. We had 35 points at halftime. So for the rush game to have over 150 yards at halftime, Tua over 600 yards, over 200 yards, and to 0 incompletions walking into half, like, put your hands up. I don't know.
Bro, throw the towel in.
And then we broke them, boys. There's a video that's circulating of the Broncos lineman who's in tears post-game talking about he's been there for 7 years and all the Broncos ever done for those 7 years is lose, and he's tired of it. We broke him.
Damn, that's crazy. Especially coming off a team that won the Super Bowl, 2016? So what was that, about 8 years ago?
Yeah, just about. We broke them, boys. Yeah, them boys in tears leaving South Beach. But I can't tout on the Dolphins for too much longer. We got to move on to the next game. This was an ugly game, but you should have known by the weather and this team's going into it. But another game where my best bet cashed. The Patriots beat the Jets 15-10. It was rainy. It was windy. It was real ugly and wet out there. So no surprise the offense didn't get cooking. But the Patriots, Bill Belichick has owned Zach Wilson, and honestly, the Jets just look absolutely terrible right now with Zach Wilson in. Like, it's just, if they really are going all in, they better pick up the phone and start calling some other teams right now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. We called it. We definitely said Zach Wilson is owned by Bill Belichick, but I just didn't expect, because it just looked bad all over. Garrett Wilson didn't eat. Michael Carter and them they're having a slight disagreement on the sidelines.
Slight?
Yeah.
Slight? He was in the coach's face screaming at him.
A discussion of words. that were just slightly made. That might have got a tad bit aggressive. aggressive. But and then you also got to remember Dalvin Cook did not look good at all last time he was on the field. So it's just like, fuck, this team had Aaron Rodgers. I think that was kind of their guiding light and everything. And now they just have nothing in a defense.
I think I saw a stat. I could be wrong, but I'm 99% sure that the Dolphins today, with their 726 yards of offense, has more yards on offense than the Jets have total for their season on offense.
They've scored more points today. The 70 points they scored more points than the Broncos scored all season. Because Broncos only had 69 if you include the 20 points they got today.
Oh yeah. But I mean, Bill Belichick extends his win record to 15 straight over the Jets.
Crazy.
He just owns the Jets, and he just owns Zach Wilson. Mac Jones didn't have a great game. And honestly, Zeke, it was all the running backs, but Zeke showed life. Like, he had like 90 yards on like 18 carries. But maybe Fat Boy Zeke actually got a little bit left in his gas tank. Then we had the Bills as absolutely boat race the Commanders 37-3. A lot of people thought this game would be close. I thought it would be somewhat close. I'm so happy I didn't include them into my best bet at the +6 on the Commanders side. But I'm so happy to sit here and be able to tout and look America in their face and be like, I told you Sam Howell is a fucking bum. Like 4 interceptions on the day, like a fucking bum. And then like Brian Robinson was cutting up, getting them into the goal line. Brian Robinson looked like a grown fucking man when he touched the ball. And then Sam Howell throwing an interception to Micah Hyde multiple times. It was just like, oh, that's a Sam Howell I know and love.
So I look at it like, we didn't expect this Commanders team to get the dub, but we did say, what if the enemy, like all that experience he has playing against the Chiefs, played against the Bills from the Chiefs, like he might have something dialed up for their ass. We did say that. We can't make it seem like we picked them, but we did say that.
We hyped them up. We gave them a little boost. We complimented their new fit on the first day of school. And then now we're on to the second week of school and they wearing the same fit. It's like, bro, we can't keep complimenting that bogus ass fit. We gave you a pity compliment the first week. Change it up. Change it up because Sam Howell's not it.
Yeah, that was not it. 4 interceptions is crazy. I can't wait to watch the highlights of this game because I bet you there's a whole bunch. But this Bills team is just like showing that like they're gonna just keep blowing out teams that aren't supposed to be what they are.
And I will say Sam Howell, that motherfucker think he's faster than he is. There was multiple times his ass was breaking out of pocket thinking he about to go somewhere and then get caught from behind and be a sack for like 2 yards. Multiple times he thought he was Lamar, and then someone come from behind and grab his stupid ass for a sack.
Yeah, he was thinking he was Lamar. They was reminding him he was Big Ben.
Yeah, they reminded him, bro, you Big Ben in Washington, buddy. Hey, Big Ben and Josh Allen ran the same 40 coming out of college. A little fun fact.
That actually makes sense too.
Then we had Kev. I'm sorry, boy, but I was on the right side. You was on the wrong side. The Lions beat the Falcons 20-6. I said if it was going to be a battle of offenses, I would like Jared Goff in them, but it looked like only one offense really came to show, Kev.
No, I don't think it's one offense came to show. I think it's one offense that didn't have to deal with the fucking D line that the Lions came with today. Like, Falcons fans are hot. Them boys is mad. They're saying the O-line had the biggest fall off they've seen in years. Like the Falcons fans are hot.
They was coming for Ridley. I will say they was coming for his head, like the defensive line. They was not. Every play he was definitely like ducking, dodging, and diving.
Brett got sacked on back-to-back plays, and the niggas was livid, Powell. I mean, upset. Falcons Twitter, like, the boys is mad right now, and it's like, cause I don't know about them, but I knew we was gonna have a slower team. So we did go against a team that had a strong defense, especially a D line. Like, it's not gonna be the same as when we play the Packers. And we can go for these fourth down. We can convert on these fourth downs. we're kind of just rushing. We're getting quick scrambles and rushing our way to the down the field, having these long ass tiresome drives. There's gonna be a lot of defenses that weren't down for that, and the motherfucking Lions is one of them. So this was like it wasn't a bad game in my opinion, but our offense looked slow, like as fuck, and we couldn't do nothing about them except score 2 field goals.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure one of the field goals wasn't a setup by the Jesse Bates interception. Like Jesse
I
Bates
believe
is looking
so.
like one of the best for defensive purposes, one of the best offseason pickups.
Yep.
What have you
Yep.
3 weeks into it? He's already has 4 turnovers on the season, forced like forced fumbles and interceptions.
Hey man, all pro.
Yeah, Jesse Bates is definitely looking like the price tag that y'all gave him. But I still like my whole take was I love this Falcons offense, but I just don't know how much I really trust them. And this was one of those games where I was hoping to be wrong. I really was. I was hoping to see the Falcons come out there and run it up on them, Bijan have a day, and to sit here and be like, damn, Kev, you was right. The Falcons is that team. Because now I'm a little worried that like depending on how Monday night goes, the Bucks may be the best team in this fucking division, and I would hate to be up in here saying that come Monday.
Nah, you felt the need to say that, nigga. But I mean, that's. I mean, if they were to beat the Eagles, they could say that, but like, it's highly doubtful.
Yeah,
Highly,
highly
highly,
doubtful.
highly doubtful.
And then let's jump into the next divisional game where one team had it all, not divisional game, but another team in your division. The Saints had it all in their hands. They was up 17-0, and then Derek Carr goes down. He doesn't return, and the Green Bay Packers come all the way back to win the game 18-17. And if y'all weren't here for my best bet, it was the Saints plus 1.5. And thank
that half.
thank God for that 1.5, because boy was I sitting there like this is why you get the picks early, because when the bet on game day when the ball kicked off, the line was set at 1 plus 1, and if you weren't a sharp man like myself that got it at 1.5, you definitely beating yourself up right now.
No, that shit is crazy. But I'm just mad that I let you fucking bamboozle me.
I
Bamboozle
knew
me.
you were gonna say that bullshit. I knew you were.
It's a picky these eights, knowing that they didn't have a chance against the Packers after we played the Packers and had to fight back. I knew the resilience that was in Green Bay. I knew it. I knew
Fourth
this.
quarter. All their points came in the fourth quarter, Green Bay.
I, I I knew they had it in them. I knew Marshawn Lattimore wasn't shit. I knew this defense was gonna let it slip.
Hey,
But nah, this is crazy. First off, Derek Carr is my other fantasy quarterback. So I have Joe Burrow, who's questionable, and Derek Carr is probably going to be out next week. So it's like interesting to see how this shit's going to maneuver. Jamal Williams is on the IR. Like, what the fuck? The Saints team tried to make something shake with Michael Thomas in the fourth, but like they just didn't have shit. Like, what the fuck happened?
I will say the defense did all they could because there was Jordan Love threw an interception. Everybody go cash. I mean, all three of my anytime interception props hit. Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen, and like Jordan Love shit cashed. But Jordan Love had a few passes, especially in the second half, which probably should have been interceptions also before that one because he was trying to force some shit. So the defense was really playing great. It was up until the Derek Carr injury. Then Winston comes in, and there was a couple short, like they weren't able to keep drives going, and they would kept giving the ball back to the Packers. And then, you can watch it at home live. Like, okay, they kicked the field goal, cool. It's still a 15-point game. Oh, a little short possession. They punt the ball to the Packers. Okay, well the Packers haven't done shit all offense. Bam, Jordan Love touchdown, go for two, and they get it. Hold the fuck up. Hold on. Now we need Jameis Winston to like kill the clock. Now we need Winston to go make a long drive, and then all of a sudden another punt, and you're sitting there at home like, uh-oh.
Oh,
But this is not
bro.
this. Yeah, bro. And then Jordan Love did his thing, and I want to keep hating on Jordan Love because like statistically and like there was like 3/4 of the game he looked ass. But then, goddamn, that one quarter he cooked it up and he had something special.
What if he had scored 3 touchdowns in the fourth?
He almost did, bro. He almost did. And then, shout out Rashid Shaheed, however you say his name on the Saints, the speedster. I mean, he's been killing it at wide receiver. He's kind of like the unsung third guy behind MT and Olave, definitely the speedster on the team. But then he has the punt return touchdown for like 80 yards, which is like the offense didn't do much, but that punt return and then like the interception, like their special teams and defense was cooking. And Derek Carr, I know he's hurt, so hopefully he gets better. But I'm not gonna just because he's hurt ain't gonna stop me from saying this. Like the homie's allergic to the red zone. He
Damn.
he can come in, he'll get your team into the red zone, but then as soon as they get into the red zone, I don't know what he stares down one guy, throws a fade route whenever it's a like he doesn't progress or anything. He'll stare down a lobby on a fade route, throw the fade route, incomplete pass. Next play, another incomplete pass. Next play, another and also we're kicking the field goal. Like I said it last week, and I'm gonna keep saying it until they do it. But like Derek Carr should be the starter up until the red zone. They put Taysom Hill ass in because then Taysom Hill gets it, and they be running for 6-7 yards every damn play, and they can't be stopped. So, but Derek Carr, hopefully he gets better. The Saints defense kind of reminds me of the Browns defense. They might be the NFC version of the Browns, where the offense probably isn't ever going to click for real, but that defense is going to keep them into every game. Then, what's this 1 o'clock? Yeah, another 1 o'clock game. This one was a boat race. The Texans just beat the shit out of the Jaguars 37-17. CJ Stroud, the defense, honestly, just really took the life out of the Jaguars, and this kept setting up CJ Stroud in this offense. But the real story is Tank Dell. Tank Dell, back-to-back weeks since starting on the Texans receiving core. He's a rookie. Puts up this week 5 catches, 145 yards and a touchdown. Last week he had like 9 catches, 100 yards and a touchdown. The CJ Stroud, the Tank Dell rookie to rookie connection might be a real deal. Like any fantasy person out there, go pick up Tank Dell if he's still on your waivers.
Let me check. I might need him.
Yeah, Tank Dell, like 68-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter that really just took the life out of them boys. But Trevor, like it was halftime, 17-0. Trevor Lawrence and them boys are down. And I just feel like their offense never got it back together. And the Texans just kept it going.
Dang, somebody already picked them up. Oh, yeah. For second week, he had 21 points. Third week, he had 32.
Yeah, like the rookie to rookie connection is if you were like I remember hearing that in training camps when they were talking about this guy Tank Dell and out of the 4th or 5th round may be the best receiver on the team, and I didn't believe it because I didn't believe in the Texans. But like here I am in week 3, and I'm like, yeah, Tank Dell might be a legit wide receiver, must start potential on like fantasy formats.
Dang, and he's sitting on somebody's bench right now. Tragic.
Yeah. And then I mean the kicker, the kicker had like 3 kicks, but then they even scored a fucking kickoff return that they fumbled. Like the Texans fumbled the kickoff return, the fullback picks it up and takes it for like 80-yard touchdown. Like the Texans really just were rolling. Like this was their game.
Yeah, they fucked them all the way up.
If it wasn't for the Dolphins, the Texans probably would have had the best performance of the week.
Nah. We got the Chiefs.
Oh, we do. Yeah, we'll hit on that a little bit. But then we had the back and forth blockbuster, much watched game of the weekend. Chargers versus Vikings, 28-24. Chargers win. And if y'all like, yes, it was an offensive back and forth, but the Chargers defense made 2 big stands, back-to-back big stands to force this game in the Chargers' favor because the Vikings definitely were on the goal line back-to-back times, and the Chargers defense didn't allow that shit to happen.
No, that's facts. The worst one was when they had Jay Jettis one-on-one. They called the motion, had him boys all the way over there, and then he didn't get his feet set, so it was an illegal shift anyways. But they still got to stop one-on-one, so all they had to do was decline the penalty.
All they had to do.
One-on-one with the best receiver in the league. And then when they tried to force it again and got the interception, I was like, oh, this Chargers defense is, and it's crazy because my preview pick said like, yo, I trust the Vikings in one score games more than I trust the Chargers. I just didn't know that the Chargers had Keenan Allen. They were gonna get 18. This motherfucker was gonna get 18 receptions by his damn self, and they made something shake.
For 215 yards, and he threw a touchdown for 49 yards. Like that, one of the best wide receiver days I think ever with Keenan Allen this weekend. 18 catches, 215 yards, and a thrown for 49-yard touchdown. That's kind of crazy.
That's pretty gangster. That's like that CMC like three touchdowns in like three different ways type shit. But
Yeah,
the greatest wide receiver stat line ever was 3 plays, 3 touchdowns, 200 yards. So I'm like 100 something yards by Randy Moss on Thanksgiving.
his rookie year against the Cowboys, who passed up on him.
Yeah, you can't beat that 3 plays, three
And
touchdowns.
fun fact: years later, Jerry Jones reached out to Randy Moss and personally apologized to him for passing up on him in the draft.
Yeah, they look crazy as fuck.
Well, everyone passed out. Homie went in like the second round, but it was more because of off field issues. That's also why he went to a very small D2 school instead of a D1 school.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I had to say this because this was my whole feeling. No matter how I walked out of this game, it was going to be one or the other, and it has to be the Vikings. Kirk Cousins. This is the best quarterback play ever for an 0-3 team, in my opinion. Kirk
Yeah,
is sitting at 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Every game, he's averaging 350 passing yards per game, like 350, 360, and then like 380. Like the QB1, QB4, QB8 on fantasy rankings. No, like 2 interceptions so far total on like all his touchdowns. Like he's playing his fucking ass off, and they're 0-3. And people are saying like maybe the Vikings. He's on 1 year left with the Vikings. Vikings don't do good this year. They're gonna have to restart anyway. And then the Jets. The Jets need a quarterback. They're here to play right now. And a lot of people are saying like that might be that the Jets should be reaching out to Minnesota and do anything they could possibly do to maybe get Kirk Cousins.
facts, facts. Because Kirk Cousins and Garrett Wilson would be crazy.
Yeah, like that. Like yes, it's only 1 year until Aaron Rodgers come back, but he only has 1 year on his deal. Like you need to go get somebody who you can win with right now. And like Kirk is on pace to put up like I mean we always talk about the Tua's on pace to do this and Tyreek's on pace, but Kirk's on pace to legitimately to those 6,000 yards. And if the defense continues to play the way they're playing, he might actually throw 6,000 yards in the season.
I fucking believe it, especially the way Jay Jettis is actually just being looking like a monster.
Yeah,
But they just got to figure out a way to win. The defense has to stop giving up points, and like they do have to convert on these like fourth and goals and these fourth quarter red zone on the temps. They got to figure out how to convert in these because they if they just converted one, they would have won this game.
yeah. And last year they were 11-0 in one possession games. They start off this season 0-3 in one possession games. Even though they have the league leader in passing yards in Kirk Cousins, the league leader in receiving yards in Justin Jefferson, and the league leader in sacks in Danielle Hunter.
Wow, I didn't even know the sacks part.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a little rough. I mean, honestly, one of the hard. This is the best 0-3 team I think we've seen since we started covering the on football on this podcast. Then now we're moving into the 4 o'clock games. A lot of big spreads. Some of them covered, some of them didn't. Start off with one of my best bets that missed. Seahawks beat the Panthers 37-27. This was a very close game. They won by 10 points, but that was more of like the fourth quarter and shit. But like halftime, it was 13-12. Carolina's winning, and Andy Dalton's looking good. Miles Sanders looking good. The defense is looking great. They get an interception on Geno Smith. The Red Rifle's doing his thing. I mean, he ended the game with like 350 yards and a couple touchdowns. Adam Thielen had himself a day, over 100 yards receiving, like 10 catches and a touchdown. So he had himself a day, but it just wasn't enough. Geno Smith and them boys just I just think out offense them.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the best term for it. I think this Panthers team started off strong. They started off hot. Andy Dalton, Andy Dalton was looking decent. Like, and you seen they made Thielen look great. He almost scored that touchdown. He almost scored a touchdown when he got that a reception at the one, and they barely stopped him. And then I think they ended up pushing it in with Miles Sanders.
Yeah, they
But
did.
but this offense looked great to start the game, and it just wasn't close afterwards. And
Yeah,
I was shocked that they put up 37 on the Panthers defense, but they did.
and I will say this is when people are gonna say, "Oh, it's the talent around Bryce Young, it's this and that." Well, Andy Dalton just went in and they by far looked like a way better offense. The one thing I think that really hoed the Panthers and like costed them their chance of winning this game, they had 14 penalties, and I want to say
Yeah,
about more than half were false starts. There was
facts.
multiple third down. There was one time where it was like 2nd and 3. Then they get double false starts and an incompletion, and now you went from 2nd and 3 to like 3rd and 18 out of field goal range. And I'm just sitting there like that's gonna cost you the game. Y'all went from field goal range, easy conversion, keep the ball, keep the drive going, score some points, to now you're outside of field goal range and y'all just fucked up. Like
See,
that was the game to me. Just watching that happen multiple
see,
times.
see, here's the thing, right? And it's not me being, a Falcons fan, but I'm just saying maybe the Panthers couldn't handle that pressure from the 12th man. Maybe the 12th man caused those false
They
starts.
definitely did. There was definitely Pete Carroll definitely was hyping up the crowd every time. Every false start, you would see Pete Carroll turn around, look at the crowd, and like give him like, yeah, like he
Get
basically.
loud.
And then there was one catch where DJ Chark made a catch, and it was very close. It was like real time, a very close catch. You're not sure if he made it or not. And then they do the replay, and it's a clear cut. Yeah, he caught that bitch. But then all of a sudden, after you see the slow mo replay, it goes to Pete Carroll on the sideline, and he has the red flag in his hand. But I'm pretty sure he just saw the same replay we did, where you could tell it was definitely a catch for the Panthers. And Pete Carroll goes like 1, 2, and bring that bitch back. Like he did a little pump fake with the red flag, and I was, and then like Pete Carroll's funny as fuck for that.
Pete Carroll's the goat. Fun fact about Pete Carroll. I was gonna save this for the Monday episode, right? I didn't know how deep him and Jim Harbaugh's beef was. So Jim Harbaugh, their beef stands all the way out to when Jim Harbaugh was a quarterback for the Bears, and motherfucking Pete Carroll was an offensive coordinator, and Jim Harbaugh had a fourth quarter comeback on their ass, and then it goes to when they were at Stanford and Jim Harbaugh was in Michigan, and then it goes from when Pete Carroll left not Stanford, wherever Jim Harbaugh was at Stanford when
Yeah,
they just had Richard Sherman, and Richard Sherman was a wide receiver at the time, and because of Jim Harbaugh is one of the reasons why Richard Sherman switched to corner. So motherfucking they get to the league, and Pete Carroll's a Seahawks coach, and Jim Harbaugh was like, yeah, I'm going to the 49ers, even though the Dolphins fucking offered him the fucking kit,
it
the whole
did.
kitchen and the
It
fridge.
did.
So motherfucking, but you're like, nah, I'm going to the 49ers because I can play Pete Carroll twice. And then it comes all full circle to when they were playing in the NFC Championship, and Richard Sherman gets that stop on Crabtree. And then
Sorry
I
ass receiver.
but here's the thing about that shit, right, Paul? He wasn't talking to Crabtree. That's when it just hit me. Like watching this, because I was watching that secret base shit. He wasn't talking to Crabtree. He was talking to Jim Harbaugh. He was like, "That's what happens when you try to meet a sorry ass receiver like Crabtree." And I was like, he was talking about Crabtree to Jim Harbaugh, and I was like, "Oh, that's crazy."
And
And I
Pete
was just
Carroll loved Richard Sherman, loved He loved the Legion of Boom, and that's why him and Russ had a fallout because the GM gave Russ the contract and not the Legion of Boom a contract, and shit happened.
bro, this shit gets deep, kid. I was watching that shit. I was like, that's insane.
But then, of course, that was one of my best bets we couldn't cover. Then we move on to the next game, and this was the biggest dog of the week. to get the win. The Cardinals beat the Cowboys 28-16. And it was close going into the fourth quarter. I was sitting there like, okay, like this is when the Cardinals have shown to boof it. Like they have been winning all their games up until this fourth quarter bullshit. But then the Dakota Prescott throws himself a nice, juicy interception down the middle to the tight end that ended up getting intercepted in the red zone. That basically sealed the game for me, in my opinion. And like it just proved that like you can change everything. You can try to overhaul the offense. You can try to do all this and that. But at the end of the day, like Kev, you like to say, is I'm gonna call a spade a spade. And Dak Prescott is the spade. Like he's like whenever the pressure's on him for him to come up and do some big time quarterback shit to rally the troops, he just sometimes got that interception in him. He just sometimes got that. Sometimes I play for another team syndrome.
Sometimes I play for the other team. Syndrome is crazy.
Sometimes, for him and Josh Allen, where he just, like when Stink Meter took over, what's his name's body? He's like sometimes that shit be happening in the huddle, bro. That's the only thing I can explain it with.
Oh my god. Paul, you might be the funniest nigga of all time.
Like, I'm an Arizona. Jonathan Gannon's my coach.
Oh my gosh. I appreciate you, Paul. That was probably the funniest take I've heard in my life. First off, I didn't know who the fuck you were talking about at first when you said Dakota Prescott. I was looking up and watching like the Dolphins highlights on I'm watching the Dolphins highlights up on the screen. Right? I was Dakota. Who the fuck is that guy? He sounds sorry as fuck.
That's his real name, bro. There's a reason why he don't go by his real name.
No, I can respect it. I mean, I just think I look the dumbest out of everybody because I was the one screaming, "Yeah, man, these Cowboys. When there's a team that's not supposed to be in the game with them, they gonna show their ass." I'm just trying to find that team because it's definitely not the Cardinals I was fucking talking about. Josh Dotson. Or what's the quarterback's name?
Joshua Dobbs.
Joshua Dobbs. That boy motherfucker starts off the game with like what, a 40-yard run to set the boys
up. The ass.
Yeah, and then he let us know like, oh, this is the game we're playing. Hollywood Brown looked good. Motherfucking they had the
James Conner.
Facts. Like this team came in ready to play. And this defense over here getting turnovers. Like we was rapping about there's a fire sale in Arizona right now. But all I'm seeing is that this team looks better without Kyler Murray.
People were pointing out Joshua Dobbs and this Falcons and this Cardinals team that, like we said, fire sale, worst team in the league, #1 pick for sure. Their offense way more production than the Zach Wilson and Jets. There's way more production. Like you can try not to play Zach Wilson, and then you go see what Joshua Dobbs is doing over there in Arizona.
Oh, Paul, we lied. The 726 total yards is second in NFL history to 735 by the 1951 Rams.
So anything prior to 1970 is pre-merger.
Oh, okay.
That's why when you hear the Super Bowl era, when they talk about stats and stuff, it's because prior to 1970 was the AFL and NFL were two separate bodies.
Okay. Never mind. I got the record.
Yeah. So yeah, someone had put me onto that, and that makes sense. But then sometimes they'll still pull up like, oh, they didn't have more. But we were up there. The only team that had more yards than us, I think, was that 1950 team. I think it was the Bears, right?
Yeah, it was the Rams.
Oh, the Rams. You know who they did that against?
Who?
The fucking Yankees. And there ain't no fucking Yankees in the NFL anymore. Like when you start pulling up some of them old stats, it's like, for what though? I want to see them 1950s lined up against two of them boys right now.
Facts.
I want to see how that get. I want to see what the record looking like.
Let me see what y'all. I want you to see somebody guard Tyreek Hill. I dare them. I dare them.
I want to see this. I want to see the lineup, right?
I really believe that was probably like an NFL team versus like a bunch of carpenters. Like,
hey, bro, shit gets crazy. Bro, really go back and do your research sometimes. Cause like back in like 1904, 1910, like when like football was just like fresh. There's a game where like the highest differential ever was like 200-0. And like the team that they played against was literally it was like Georgia Tech versus Alabama, and Georgia Tech was a fucking powerhouse, and like Alabama like they signed a game in the off season, and then when the season came around, they didn't have enough players to play, and Georgia Tech was like, nah, y'all signed the contract, like we gonna. And like they got the fucking 12 grand on, bro, and that shit was a blowout. Like I'm telling you, like it gets real dirty back, and you go back way back in the day to see those games.
Right. And the shit fucks me up because I can just imagine niggas with no pads, no face mask. Like, nah, y'all saw this shit.
Yeah, and they running like the wing tip offense, bro. They got like four running backs behind them, and that's the offense that's putting up 500 yards on their ass. I'm
They
telling you, bro,
O-line.
that game, I think I'll pull up I'll send you the link to it, but it was like they had 10 total plays of offense and nine of them were turnovers. And like one play went for positive yards and they celebrate. Like it's some crazy shit. But we gotta keep it moving. We gotta keep it moving. Next game on the slate. This one's gonna be a quick one. The Chiefs has absolutely beat the shit out of the Bears, 41-10. I was on here rapping about this is gonna be the hey, let him play ball. Let him play ball. But Justin Fields fucking sucks. That's enough. That's enough ball I needed to see.
But I blame the Dolphins for the Chiefs coming out and getting a 34-0 lead on their ass. And the fact that it was like, oh, they dropped 70 points. I bet I got something for that.
No, this ain't our fault. The reason why this happened the way it happened was because Taylor Swift was in attendance, who is freshly dating Travis Kelce. And at one point, she's seen when they score, she's saying, "Let's fucking go!" Like that's the just like when Jordan Poole has the bad bitches at courtside. That was like the Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes. And Pat Mahomes even came out and said because he threw a touchdown in the fourth quarter to Kelce when they're already up. He said, "Yeah, I felt some pressure." Like Travis Kelce, basically, he said Taylor Swift was in the stands. I had felt some pressure to get Kelce into the end zone. Like I had to.
That's funny as fuck. I hate the NFL. They tweeted out she's in her red era.
Hey, and shout out Donna Kelce. They said two sons, probably both going into the Hall of Fame, both arguably the best to play their position of all time. And her daughter-in-law is going to be Taylor Swift. She is living the dream of like all-American motherhood right now.
Nah, dead fucking ass. 12-time Grammy Award winner. And you know what's even crazier? I see the NFL memes. It was like they showed Taylor Swift in the booth, and it was like the Chiefs are scoring sixes on and off the field.
Damn, no. See, I don't even want to repeat what Alex said. Alex said some foul shit, right? I do not know what Alex was saying in the group chat about the Kelce and Swifty relationship.
I'm crying. I bet it was a disrespectful last week.
It was very disrespectful. But I mean, Jerick McKinnon, Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, three running backs scored for him, and it's very similar to the Dolphins. So like, I do think you're kind of right on that. They're like, fuck, the Dolphins had two running backs go for like both running backs combined for like 400 yards and 7 touchdowns. I mean, let's get all three of our guys into the end zone today.
Nah, dead ass.
And then
I can't every
here it is. I know before you say it, I just want to say, bro, Fields ended the game with 99 passing yards. 99 passing yards.
Abysmal.
They let that boy eat. And the thing that frustrates me the most is I keep seeing people tweeting about it's time to trade Fields. We're wasting his talent. We're wasting this and that. But yes, he had 1,000 yards rushing last year. First quarterback in history. It was fucking great. The highlights were amazing when they were losing by 30 points and he ran for 80-yard touchdown. They were cool as fuck. But his over under for like every game for passing was set at 150, 160 yards. Like we're seeing wide receivers in today's game go over that mark. Like Jay Jettas and Tyreek Hill are averaging over 110 yards per game receiving, and Justin Fields ain't even averaging that throwing. But yeah, It's not his fault. Yeah, like this man can't read defenses. Yeah, but it's not his fault. Oh, but he can run fast and throw far. But that doesn't mean he's gonna be a fucking all time great quarterback. It is not his fault. This man is not like he's Zach Wilson with a cannon and wheels. That's all. That's all he is to me.
And don't forget, Michael Parsons bust his ass in combine when it comes to at the 40 times.
Yeah, he did. Mike Parsons beat. Hey, thank you for bringing up Mike Parsons. I forgot to bring this up, bro. Multiple times against the Cardinals, bro. They would do this thing before the ball would hike. Like you're watching from the little side view, like normal NFL game, defensive line, offensive line, quarterback over here, all that shit. And you would have like Parsons on the end, and they would do this little highlight over him. Like you would see this little gold thing over him before every hike, so you knew where Parsons was. Every goddamn time they hiked the ball, Parsons was rushed single coverage, lineman blocking his ass. He ain't go nowhere. It wasn't no double team or nothing. 1-on-1 block, Joshua Dobbs cutting up. And I'm just like, bro, every time y'all highlight him, he ain't doing a goddamn thing. Like this is like y'all should stop highlighting him because I'm watching him now, and he number 11 is getting fucking pushed into the dirt. He ain't doing nothing.
You know what's crazy? I thought you were gonna say that, bro. I was like, because I remember seeing that happen. But I was like, nah, that's not what he's about to say. He's about to say that every time they highlighted that he ate, and I just happened to be the hater.
No, but he definitely. This was not the like. I'm not saying because like Nick Bosa got his first sack last week, and we still consider him one of the best defensive ends on the planet. Like, I'm not saying that you can have off games, but like it just didn't look good that you're going up against this team that everyone thought had a fire sale, and this like right tackle that no one could even name is out here blocking you on a 1-on-1 every play.
Yeah, that.
But then we got to wrap it up, Kev. Sunday night football, it wrapped up pretty shortly behind us. We had your dog, Steelers, getting the dub 23-18 over the Las Vegas Raiders in Las Vegas. And even though Devontae Adams had himself a day, Jimmy G shit the bed. I mean, he threw 3 interceptions. There was 2 interceptions where it was just right to the defender. Like he threw one little like overthrow that went straight to the safety, another pass that went straight to the safety, and the Steelers defense just continues to like they're definitely the best unit on the field when they play.
I think we called. I think we called this game. I think we called this game very well when we said Devontae Adams is probably going to do something special. And this Steelers defense was enough. I feel like those are 2 hard takes that we had. And that's exactly what the fuck happened. I think George Pickens like set up the first touchdown. But besides for that, I think this defense really put them in position to win this entire game. And they just continue to like move on top of that with momentum.
And I'm just looking like I keep saying this, and I'm just gonna keep talking shit, bro. I am. I'm just gonna keep talking my shit. Those running backs who are in that fucking Zoom call. Austin Eckler, he's been out. Saquon Barkley, he's been hurt. Nick Chubb, out for the season. Actually, got good news. He probably just torn an MCL. He probably won't. It won't be a career ender. So good news on Nick Chubb and Josh Jacobs. Where the fuck has Josh Jacobs been? This was the #1 fantasy running back last year, #1 rusher last year, and he's just been non-existent. And is it the Zoom call curse? The Zoom call where those like 6 or 8 running backs that all got together on that call together, there's all of a sudden there's all shit in the bed this year.
Wait, Zoom call. What are you talking about?
Whenever this was during pre-training camps when everyone was holding out to begin with, before Saquon got his little 1-year extension, before Austin Eckler came back to the team on the franchise, before all that started coming in, and they all wanted to hold out to get what they're worth, Austin Eckler and Saquon Barkley took it upon themselves to host a Zoom call with some of the other premier top running backs so they can all get onto the same mental and the same like mind space of like, this is what we're worth. You know, like we're all gonna get on the same page together. It's a Zoom call curse because like Josh Jacobs, Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, like, I don't know. There's another one. I don't know. That might be my thing for the season. Me throwing my hands is, I don't know. Because I don't want to be a
No.
hater, but I don't know. Man. I'm just looking at the numbers and looking at the producing, and I'm just saying here like, if I say something, I'm a hater, but I don't know.
No, no. But yeah, I gotta look more into that. I appreciate you putting me on game about that shit. But back to this game though, like the Steelers, the Steelers are just the 10-year team that looks like. And the thing about it is, I feel like the offense doesn't look great, but they probably looked the most consistent out of every team in this. Well, the Browns is looking pretty good, but they look the most consistent out of every team in the North right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would say right now in the North, all four of them have really bad offenses right now.
Yeah.
Like the Ravens got the new offensive coordinator, and like Charles and all the Ravens fans were screaming about, "Oh, we got an offensive coordinator that's going to air the ball out," and like Lamar hasn't like I
How's
had
it end up the show?
yeah I Kenny Pickett and them are still looking rough. And then you have the Bengals where we haven't seen them on Monday yet, but they look very rough. And the Browns, like these are all teams that their defenses are really good, but their offenses have all been struggling. And one thing I will say about the Lamar one in particular is I had this take before, like as I was watching the game. Lamar Jackson, tell me if I'm wrong, Kev. He has looked the same since we started the podcast. Like since we started year one on the podcast, my take on Lamar Jackson probably has not changed at all. Like, and this is the year he got the money, he got receivers around him, and a new offensive coordinator is supposed to air it out. And this was supposed to be the year that like we're supposed to like, okay, Lamar's that guy, but like he still looks like the same Lamar from like 2 years ago that we're sitting here talking about. Like, yeah, he's a great athlete, and yeah, he sometimes does some amazing things, but then he also does things like we saw this week.
Yeah, I think the difference between Lamar in this year versus previous years is like a lot of times we were put in a position to be like, yo, how's Lamar? Yo, if they had the right talent around Lamar, he would be unstoppable. His arm would be great. He'd be able to really showcase his arm talent, but he doesn't. So that's why he kind of runs and he kind of does a lot of crazy cool things. And I think there are stretches where he's just genuinely dominant and genuinely spectacular, like the first 4 games of last season. Like he's just genuinely
Price of the
spectacular.
brick was way up first 4 games.
Price brick was up, and he's just genuinely spectacular at points in time. He can. It seems like he can always do that, but I also feel like there's sometimes it's the defenses just don't leave that shit open for him. Some days, like there's just some days that like the defense just had something for that, and it just kind of shows, and then shit gets ugly. And I think that's one of the Ravens' talents that they can play. They can play and win such ugly games, but at the same time, you don't want to get put in that position over and over and over again. And recently we've been seeing it, and it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like that's how I feel about like I can't just single out Lamar because that's how I looked at Kenny Pickett to start this season and Deshaun Watson, but that's how my take was on Watson prior to season, so it don't matter. But it's still that division's still sitting at 2-1 across the board, except for the Bengals who are 0-2 leading into Monday night. But still, even though we both took the Ravens, I think that division is still probably the most wide open division.
Oh, by far.
Like the Bengals could come out and rally. The Browns defense could really pull them together. The Steelers defense could really pull them together. Like there's any division where I've yet to feel like the Steelers, yes, they just won back-to-back primetime games and basically on the back of their defense. But none of these teams have really pulled out to me on like, yeah, that team's the best team in the division.
Hell yeah.
And then like the funniest thing also, like just to showcase another division that's probably like that also, the Colts are leading their division 2-1 right now.
Nah, that division is wacky. We're not even gonna get into them right now.
Yeah, everyone else is 1-2 except for the Colts sitting at 2-1.
I still gotta go watch what the fuck happened in that Jaguars Texans game because that we're not even gonna get into that division. But
Yeah.
Paolo, that sounds like the whole Sunday slate, man.
That was the whole Sunday slate, and hopefully y'all followed me because it was yet again another winning week of bets. And if y'all don't see them yet, the Monday night props I already hit on them on our picks episode, but I will have the Monday night props on a graphic for y'all boys before the games kick off tomorrow.
Mm. And fun fact, Kenny Pickett's 72-yard touchdown is the longest ever by a Steeler versus a Raiders team. I'm mad that the NFL Network took time to make that a stat.
That's a crazy stat for them to pull out their ass.
Hell yeah. But if you didn't know, we don't mind telling you again. This is the Totally Blitz podcast. We had the action. I blame the Dolphins for this episode, truthfully, because the action was so crazy. We had to talk about it Sunday night, and we wanted to make sure we got it out earlier for y'all, so that way y'all can go talk y'all shit when you get to school, when you get to work, wherever you like to talk your shit at. When you get to the Monday Night Football vibes, whatever you got to do. But we appreciate y'all for checking this out, man. Monday Night Football recap and the Thursday preview is going to be coming out soon. So make sure you stay tapped in. We ain't got no MMA this week, but we got the big boxing shit
He's
with the
back.
Charlo versus Canelo fight this week. So make sure you tapped in. And if you didn't know, we don't mind telling you one more time that this is the Totally Blitz podcast. My name is Kev Watterson, boy. I'm in this bitch with Paul Pick and Wyndham Conchant, and we don't mind telling you and your whole crew that you's a bitch.